The Real Monica Adams Show is brought to you by Exist Stretch. Stop by for your free consultation and 30-minute introductory stretch today.
Well, happy Testament Tuesday, and welcome into the Real Monica Adams Show, live from the Exist Stretch studios. If you haven't been yet, what are you waiting for? We've been talking about them for the last couple of months. Incredible place in the city or in the Jefferson County area. Trisha Rhodes, an incredible assist stretch therapist who, by the way, will be with us tomorrow morning on our Wellness Wednesday. I've been in, clearly, as you can see right there, life-changing, and I mean that. I've had some of you that have been in, and you've told me about your experiences. Again, it could be for maintenance, it could be trauma, it could be pain, it could be multiple things. You're an athlete, you want to move better, the mobility aspect of it all. So Exist Stretch, they're located, by the way, at 5605 Hampton Avenue in the St. Louis Hills area, or off Vogel Road in Arnold, which is in the Jefferson County area. Again, get in there. That first stretch is absolutely free. ExistStretch.com and on social media at Exist Stretch. Can't wait for you to have your life changed. Well, welcome into the show. Thrilled to have you along with us. Today is a Testament Tuesday, and we're excited to bring back our sponsor of Testament Tuesday, Bridgette Childress with Childress Legal Nurse Consulting. She's going to break down HIPAA. You know, a lot of you go into the doctor's office and you sign paperwork and, here's one for HIPAA. What is it? What are your rights? We're going to talk about that. And then Dr. Christian Schmitt, who we introduced you to last month, we're going to talk about his chiropractic practice and his passion for the healing aspect. In fact, how he even got into it himself when he was going through traditional medicine and said, I want to do alternative means, and then it took him to a life to become the one that heals you. So all of that coming up on this Testament Tuesday. Before we do that, we've got weather, news you can use, and those shirtless fans are back at Busch Stadium tonight. We'll talk about that. That all went viral with the tarps off. We'll discuss that coming up in just a couple of minutes. Let's start off with weather. If you got up early this morning, or did you even get any sleep? Because we had rocking and rolling overnight, just like yesterday. So let's break down the forecast for you. We are talking about more storms that could move into the area a little bit later on this afternoon. We had some already early this morning. So today, it's going to be a different front, actually dry and cooler air that is going to last through midweek. It's going to warm up again, though, by the weekend with some rain and storm chances returning. But there is a possibility, again, of some more severe storms from now through 4 p.m. Flooding and strong winds are a risk, so we're continuing to monitor that. Just know, just like we saw yesterday, that you could see a risk, kind of a level 2 out of 5. The main risk was the strong winds, up to 60 miles per hour, even hail like we saw yesterday. So expect some of that depending on where you live. Just be weather aware. 78 is the high. 57, by the way, for a low tonight, and we're hoping those storms don't cause a problem with the Cardinals and St. Louis City SC, both in action tonight, so it's going to be busy getting into downtown. It's also opening night, by the way, of MJ the Musical at the Fox, so prepare yourself for traffic. 69 for a high tomorrow. Thursday, 72 looks beautiful. Friday, as we get into the weekend, we've got the rain chances coming back. 60% chance and a high of 75. Saturday, 80, 83 by the time we get to Sunday, and then we're going to get warm next week with just slight chances, maybe pop-up rain. 85 Monday, 89 on Tuesday, 91 by Wednesday, and Thursday is 90. So we get into Memorial Day. We start to see the unofficial start of summer. That doesn't actually start until the third week or so of June, but we all consider when the pools are open that summer has officially started. Well, we've been talking a lot about health in the last couple of weeks, and one, the hantavirus, the other, Ebola. We talked about this yesterday, and unfortunately, the number of cases of people that have been killed are dead from the Ebola virus, that number has gone up. Congo has opened more centers now to treat this rare type of Ebola that has killed nearly 120 people. An American doctor is among the newly confirmed cases of the virus with no approved vaccines or medicines. Officials said the details are emerging about the delayed response to the outbreak. The WHO declared this a public health emergency of international concern. As of Monday, there were over 118 deaths, 300 suspected suspected cases and 1 death and 1 suspected case in a neighboring Uganda. Experts say the number of cases is likely to rise, unfortunately, as health officials conduct more surveillance. And we talk about that just as we are continuing to talk about the hantavirus. The stricken cruise ship is docking in the Netherlands for disinfection now. It was, of course, hit by the outbreak over a week and a half ago, wrapping up a troubled journey that put international health authorities on alert. The ship was carrying 25 crew members and 2 medical personnel as it reached Europe's largest port yesterday morning after its passengers disembarked on the Spanish island. An Associated Press journalist saw people board the boat from a pier wearing white hazardous material suits. A short distance from where the ship docked, authorities had set up white containers along the water in between a line of windmills. The crew will now go into quarantine, with those who cannot be immediately spending their time in quarantine in those containers. Again, this is something we've been talking about now for over 2 weeks and will continue as we get more information on this. But one of the things is to try to keep public concern from, again, freaking out. But there are people who are getting a little worried about that. Now we're talking about the Ebola. Again, we always are interested in our own audience. You tell me how you're feeling about all of this. Drop comments in as you are tuning in this morning. If you're a Star Wars fan, Star Wars and Powerpuff Girls actor Tom Kane, you recognize him? Dead, unfortunately, at the age of 64, according to TMZ. He died yesterday at a hospital in Kansas City, Missouri. His cause of death was complications from a 2020 stroke. Though his voice may now be silent, the characters, the stories, and the love he gave the world will live on forever. That was a comment from a representative with his agency. He was the voice of Yoda in Star Wars, The Clone Wars, and the voice of Professor Utonium and him in the Powerpuff Girls. He also voiced characters in video games, including the Call of Duty franchise. He is survived by his wife and 9 children. And then you'll recognize this face, Mark Fuhrman. He was all over your TVs. Mark Fuhrman, detective in the O.J. Simpson case, dead at the age of 74. He died from an aggressive form of throat cancer. They confirmed that to the New York Times, known as the officer who found a bloody glove connected to the murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman back in 1994. Well, you know, they are friends of the Real Monica Adams Show, Care STL. And if you are looking to adopt, right now, they're waiving those adoption fees. Look at these babies. They are looking to come to your home. As of yesterday morning, Care STL said they were caring for 91 dogs in the facility, designed to house only around 60. And new dogs continue to come in daily. To help combat the overcrowding, they are waiving all adoption fees for dogs through May 31st. They're located, by the way, at 2700 Walnut Place in St. Louis, open from 11 a.m. until 6 p.m. So they need your help. And if you can't adopt, they also could use your assistance in fostering. All right, Shaquille O'Neal. First of all, you know he's a phenomenal basketball player, but did you know his intelligence level? He has now gotten his 2nd master's degree. I absolutely love this. Adding another title to his name, he graduated from Louisiana State University with his 2nd master's, a master's of arts in liberal arts. His thesis, interdisciplinary approach to mentorship through the lens of the epic poem, The Odyssey, focusing on strengthening mentorship, particularly for athletes. That's just awesome. And look at how tall he is, by the way. 7'1" star, also has a Bachelor of General Studies from LSU, an MBA from the University of Phoenix, and a doctorate in education from Barry University. Who knew? Did you know that? If you're a big fan of Shaq's, maybe you did, but how cool is that? All right. This has taken over Busch Stadium, and these guys are coming back tonight. Thanks to our manager with the Cardinals, Oliver Marmol. He had bought some tickets for them to come to the games over the weekend, and now he's purchased more for them to return for tonight's game. The guys did not expect this to go viral. Really, they were just coming to support the Cardinals while in the Midwest. It is the Stephen F. Austin Lumberjacks Club baseball team. They attended the Cards and Royals game in the right field bleachers. They started the shirtless tarps off cheering trend, which quickly caught on with thousands of Cardinals Cardinals fans. Again, Oliver Marmol invited the team into the clubhouse then to celebrate, even purchasing a block of tickets to allow them to host free ticket giveaways for the rest of the weekend's games, and then confirmed that they will be back tonight. I just love this. Don't you love when something takes over and it wasn't planned? Very cool. So they'll be back if you're going to the game, and again, hoping that the rain doesn't cause a problem. The Cardinals are playing the Pirates. That'll be tonight. Game time, first pitch is at 6:45. All right, into your national days of today. National May Ray Day, Devil's Food Cake Day. It's also National Roadie Day. Then we thought we'd give you some ongoing national weeks. It's National Public Works Week, and then ongoing national months. Mental Health Awareness Month, Get Caught Reading Month, and it is National Older Americans Month. And you know, I talk about that as we take care of our older Americans. We're going to actually be, next Tuesday, we will be visiting again with our friends over at Garden View Care Centers. And if you haven't had a chance to go in and take a tour yet, I highly recommend you do so. You know, I've been gushing about them ever since they took care of my mom back in January. And we love the fact that we're able to tell their story. We have their story coming up for you coming into the next couple of weeks. We've got some really cool stories on tap, like Oaken Front, that will be our Foodie Friday. We'll be focusing on the Chesterfield location of Garden View Cares. And then we'll also have a really cool feature coming up on Barrel House, which we went to and focused on in the Baldwin area. But again, every month you get a chance to hear about the different level of care that Garden View has for you. So we'll be talking about that coming up for you as well. Today, we're talking about the healing arts, and we're talking about your rights. We've got two guests. First will be Bridgette Childress from Childress Legal Nurse Consulting, and then Dr. Christian Schmitt, who happens to be her son-in-law. He will be coming in talking about the level of chiropractic care. So hold on tight. On this Testament Tuesday, we're going to open up your mind, your heart, and complete that balance of life with mind, body, and spirits. Stay tuned for that coming up next. But by the end of this, I want 100% raising your hands. I'm here to empower you because you all have intrinsic value. I don't care if someone has told you that you don't. Today, we are here to make you believe in yourself.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Bonacorsi, and I'm the president and founder of J Bloom. And I chose Monica Adams to be our keynote speaker because of the positivity that she illuminates whenever she speaks. She's an amazing influence and has so much impact on these women that they are going to leave changed.
It's a constant education. Never stop being the leader. If you are given the opportunity to be, and I hate the word boss, by the way, don't we like leader more? Have you all seen that image of a boss shouting behind their team and then the leader out in the trenches? And I know there's a lot of people that are thrown into your paths, and there are people who try to squash your dreams. It could be your partner, it could be your parents, your children, a boss that you've had, but you cannot, from this day forward, I'm going to ask you to not give them power any longer. So we think it, we write it, we hear it. Think right here. Make connections today. Then pave that way. You now have the awareness. So how do you pave that path?
Your message, like at the end, you can be anything, but before that, be kind.
Yep.
My husband's a pastor, and that every one of his sermons, that's always within it. That be kind.
Yep.
You have to be kind.
It is.
Oh, you're fine.
Look at this. So there's an employee out there who still thinks of you because you were kind to them. Never stop being that leader. By the way, I want to be remembered for this phrase when I'm no longer on this earth. The greatest rewards in life come from the most uncomfortable walk. God meant for me to talk to you. Oh, it's okay. You, honey, have a lot of value. And someone's told you that you don't. And I was meant to be in your life today. I've always said, I have chills. Do we all have chills? God, I say, if you can have me change one person's life, then I have done your job. I'm hoping it's all of you. But see, she's not okay for whatever reason. I don't know your story, but I'm going to tell you they're wrong. And all these women believe in you.
To hire Monica Adams for your next event, email info@therealmonicaadams.com.
Don't you just love how things happen and it's just from an idea and then it really takes off and takes hold? Well, Testament Tuesday was something that came to me when I was in the shower. Many times, right? It's just focusing. Sometimes I'm singing and other times it's, oh, God's speaking to me. Stepped out of the shower and thought, Testament Tuesday, should we do that? And I put it out to you all, and you're like, yes, yes. I saw so many comments. Yes, 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 do it. Besides the devotional that we always end with every morning, it became, let's make it a thing. And then this dear woman, Bridgette Childress, reached out to me and said, yes, not only do I want you to do it, but I want to be behind this. And so you've been hearing all about her over the last couple of months. Great to see you again, my friend.
You too.
I'm going to bring that microphone just a little closer to you.
Give me a hand.
And give me your hand. So, for those that don't know or haven't seen Bridgette, please do me a favor. The library of our shows are on YouTube. Go there, and that way you can go back and see our show that we originally did. She introduced us to her son-in-law, Dr. Christian Schmitt. We're going to separate the two of them. We're going to separate you. You guys can't play in the same room together.
You go there.
We're going to have Dr. Schmitt come in next with Elevate Chiropractic and talk about the healing arts and how he got into it and how he's continuing to heal you. You've been into him. I saw your comment about how he's changed your life.
Absolutely. My hip and my knee. And, you don't think, obviously everything is connected, but, and as we get older, but still, I honestly did not realize how much the adjustments were going to help the other parts,
We all learn the hip bone's connected to the, but you're like, what's wrong? Where's it coming from?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because for me, as a nurse standing in the operating room all the time, it's like my tension is all in my neck and my upper shoulders and everything. And that's really what I thought I, needed the most. And I do, but it's just how everything else falls into place. It's great.
But isn't it crazy, and you especially, both of you being in the healing aspect of life, that we put ourselves on the back burner? So you do that, he might do that as well, but in your mind it is, no, I got to take care of me. How else can I take care of my patients? How can I be present for my family? So we're going to talk about that with Dr. Schmitt in just a second. If you don't know about Bridgette and her practice, please, we're going to go a little bit more in depth into this, and we're going to talk about your rights. So Childress Legal Nurse Consulting, she just mentioned she's a nurse and has been for a long time now. So Childress LNC, you can check her out on LinkedIn, on Facebook as well, and website as well. So we're going to continue to tell you, why would you try to go through all those crazy medical records? God love you. You and the attorneys make sense of the chaos of it all.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? It can be really fun because when you think about, medicine in general is evidence-based. And so it's like, okay, you have this. And
you're like a detective.
But and then it's like, but why? And just like when we're going to talk about today, it's like, okay, well, why was HIPAA even needed? Why was it like, where was the beginning of it all?
Well, and that is the question, because we can go back to going to doctors many, many years ago, and HIPAA was never a thing.
Right.
So first it is, what is HIPAA, and why did it all come about?
Right. So HIPAA is, and like I said, I brought my notes. There's so much information. But I wanted to also just say, like, my main thing really is to help people through this whole process of being empowered and feeling like they have control over their healthcare.
Right.
Because they are the most important part of their healthcare. So, yeah.
Right. And before we get into the HIPAA aspect, we mentioned her practice. She started a year ago now. So happy anniversary.
Thank you.
And again, it is her and the attorneys working together to go through all of those medical records, which is very time consuming, and people are lost when it comes to that.
Yeah.
And she found it upon her heart, besides being an incredible nurse, to say, this is what I want to do. Right? I want to help you all with that. So remember her and reach out. And if that is something that you need right now, remember Bridgette for that, or pass it along to someone else. That's why we put her on, so you can go, oh my gosh, I know somebody that can do this for you. Okay, so now go back. So HIPAA, how long has it been in existence, by the way?
So the law was signed in 1996.
Wow, really? That long ago?
Yes. So, and it's the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. And really, it's kind of like this large framework, because ever since then, everything has then evolved. So, when people think of HIPAA, they think of privacy.
Sure.
Well, the privacy rule part of it really did not even get written until 2000, 4 years later. And then enforced in 2003. So you can go through, there's a great there's different sites that you can go to, but it'll give you the timeline of when everything, and now that we have AI and electronic medical records and all of that, we're just trying to keep up with adding more rules and regulations, I guess, to that umbrella.
So I think, don't you all agree that when you hear the word HIPAA, yes, the first thing in your mind is, oh, privacy. And that's the only thing. And we just all have been accustomed to, okay, it's a form we have to sign.
Right. And that,
not that we all understand what the heck it is.
right. And people think, and I think that's one of the, we'll get into this, is, the misunderstandings is that when you're signing that, you're signing everything away. You're not. What you're signing is that, because by law, your healthcare provider has to give you that notification. So that's what you're signing, that, yes, I've received this. So that's
not, but yeah, I do agree. Whenever I sign that it is, evidently I'm just signing this to go to everyone, that you have the right to, because I'm saying that you can have this. It is. I think this is why we have Bridgette in here, is to educate us on what really is that,
right,
and what are our rights.
Exactly. So when you are signing, again, it's to protect. There's privacy, security, and then the breach. There's three core parts, really, when you think of HIPAA, and those are the three. You have personal information that needs protected: your name, your date of birth, your social security, all that information. And then when it's related or linked to any health information, that's then when it's covered. So there are covered entities: your doctor's office, even insurers and billing and, nurses, dentists, anything that's providing healthcare and has personal information about you that needs protected.
Yeah, I think we all probably in our minds go to the absolute personal side, which is I think my first order would be Social Security. Social Security, I don't want that out, right, to anybody that doesn't need it. Yes, maybe personal as far as where you live and your phone number. But when it comes to all the levels of your medical, I've never really put it into my head of, oh, yeah, wow, this is, it's kind of like when you put something out on the internet and you delete it and you're like, it will forever.
Yes.
Even though people think they can erase it, it's out there. And that can be very scary. But it's also who has levels to that when you go, well, no, that was a long time ago. Yes, but from an insurance standpoint, or think about when you are going and you're getting life insurance, that they're going to go all the way back and say, well, we want access to this.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, absolutely. And they have, they have that ability to do so. So, yeah.
Yep, because people will come back going, no, there shouldn't be a problem with that. But if they see it, it's a red flag for them. That, well, now that could be an issue down the line, and we're going to say that you can't be covered, or it's going to be a higher level of coverage.
And, again, going back to kind of like where and why did this all come from? Back in the 80s and the 90s. Well, first of all, let me back up. So it came about for two reasons. One, the insurance portability part of it. If you lose a job, whether you're changing jobs or the job loss, it gives you that ability then to have insurance. And it's completely different than COBRA. People think that it's not. So,
right.
But, and then also fraud. So that's kind of where it all came. But then also when HIV and AIDS, so people were actually, the privacy part of it came in, they were thinking about, information like that and then being discriminatory.
Right.
So that's in general. Yeah.
In that time period?
Yeah.
I can see that. Yes. I mean, that's come a long way. We literally just, wasn't that in the National Days of, I think it was either today or yesterday, I was just talking about that. Right. And so, yes, if we go all the way back and you think, I don't even remember in the news who was the very first person. It was.
I don't know.
Was it? It was one of the athletes. That's when I.
Oh, was it the tennis player? No.
Or did Magic?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, but I think he was like one of the first for me, as far as me actually hearing about it.
Yeah.
Right, but no one wanted to talk about it.
Right.
Now it's much more of, okay, it's not so taboo, and while it was used in your mind, it was always tied to a sexual disease, and then it was blood-related transfusions, etc. But yes, from that discriminatory, I can absolutely see that. Do you know who started this?
I should. I don't. Yes. No.
Zach's going to look it up for me.
Okay.
And then he'll
Thanks,
get it
Zach.
to me. But yeah, so again, all these brilliant minds that all of a sudden come to, well, I don't know why this wasn't in place in the first place. Let's put this in place. Then
Right.
it becomes the norm.
Right. And as we know, I mean, things take time. And, like I said, you go from 96 when it was originally signed into law until, and then writing of the privacy part of it,
Yep.
In 2000. So,
It's
but
crazy that it took, 7 years before it was completely
even enforced. Yeah.
Yes. That's
Yeah.
great. Okay, so let me see here. It was primarily sponsored and negotiated by Senators Ted Kennedy and Nancy Kassenbaum. Okay, that was put in place by President Bill Clinton. Did that say 1996? I'm trying to go back and forth
Yes,
because the legs
yeah.
of the camera's
Yeah,
in my way.
96.
Okay,
Yeah.
so there you go. Interesting.
Yeah.
That all of a sudden, brilliant minds come together and say, this should have been a thing.
Yes.
And now it will be.
And
But you
forever,
just
really.
mentioned AI. So who knows how many legs this thing can have and what intelligence believes we should still be doing that's maybe not out there.
Yeah. Well, and that goes into like one of the misconceptions I think that people think that just because it's health information that it's protected. I mean, your trackers, your apps, that's information that you put in there, and it's not protected by HIPAA.
Right.
It's, they may have their own protection or whatever, but it's not.
It's listening to us right now.
Yes, it's not lawfully protected by this law.
So what are the biggest questions that you get? Again, we're talking about patient rights, HIPAA, and protecting your family, right? It's your entire family because you would do anything for them in healthcare. What do you hear from people that you work with the most over the last year about their rights and their protection and how they want to feel secure?
Just in general, like, what do I do if this happens or that happens? And that's why I tell people, it's really important to have an advance directive. I know, people don't like to talk about if this happens or that happens, and God forbid death, but it really is, if you have a plan in place, it alleviates it's a stressful time anyway. Your mom, it wasn't anything planned. It was a fall, and then she had to have surgery. Yep. So when things are in place, then it just makes it easier on you, the patient, on your loved ones that are giving, permission and having to make these decisions.
Yep.
So I think that's the biggest thing.
If you're just tuning in, once again, let me reintroduce my guest. This is Bridgette Childress, Childress Legal Nurse Consulting, and she is our sponsor, by the way. We want to thank her for Testament Tuesday, Childress LNC. Again, if you're on LinkedIn, check her out there or go to Facebook, interact with her as well, and reach out to her, again, so that she can help you with all of this. She did give me a website that I'm going to drop into the comments section for you, the National Institute of Aging. We're going to actually take a break, and we'll talk a little bit more about this, choosing a healthcare proxy. You're right. It's a discussion that we all don't want to have, but if you don't have it in place, you're in a world of problems.
Yeah, you can't be.
We just started talking. Actually, the two of you met. You're going to hear a lot about the Estep law firm, Sean Estep. Jim and I are just finally. Can you believe this? I mean, it's silly. It really is. And I don't want to ever do the shame on you. Why didn't you do it before? All that matters is you do it.
Right.
We are now sitting down, going through the process of doing a trust.
Well, because you always think, I'll get to it later. I'll get to it later.
But you can't. It's dangerous to do that, right? Do you want all the things to go into probate court? No. And then years and years and just your family being like, oh my God, what a headache, right? We'll talk about that. So it's very important. I just dropped it in. So if you look at the comment section, it's a great website that she has provided for us. And we'll talk a little bit about that. Choosing a healthcare proxy. What is a healthcare proxy? Again, how can Bridgette help you with all of this? She wants to make sure that you have this information and you're armed with it. So don't go anywhere. More with Bridgette when we return.
You could start your day feeling loose, relaxed, and ready. Deep hydrotherapy right in your backyard. No commute, no appointments, just warmth, relief whenever you need it. Sore muscles recover faster, tight joints loosen up, tension you carry all day, gone. Relax with your family or friends, or work out with our Michael Phelps Edition Swim Spas. Worried about maintenance? We have factory-trained service nearby whenever you need it. Plus, we're here for you long term if you have any questions or need to refill supplies. You can even test spas at our showrooms. Spas and More, A+ rated, locally owned for 20 years. We put the ah in spa.
You know, Bridgette was just mentioning my mom falling and breaking her femur, and it sends the most horrible thing through your body of when you want to get to your loved one and you want to make sure they're taken care of. So obviously first she went to the hospital, she had surgery, then it was the unknown. Where does she go? Well, Garden View, wow, that was a godsend. They came into our lives. I had never heard of them, by the way, and we had, from a social worker, paperwork to pick a place, and you're picking, and your mind is in one direction of, you know, let's take care of mom, and she's in the hospital right now, but now it's the next part. Where does she go from here? Boy, I tell you what, they're angels. And this really has been the most incredible partnership. We never saw this coming. And these people that I've talked to and Zach's had a chance to meet, they absolutely love being at Garden View. There's a few different locations, by the way. O'Fallon, Missouri. They're also in Chesterfield, which is where Mama Jackie was. And then they have one in Doherty Ferry. And we have fallen in love with the staff, had a chance to get to know the CEOs really well, met the president, and you can see why they do what they do. Garden View truly does care. So take a look at their website, gardenviewcares.com. And just like we're talking about, though, don't wait. Go in, take a tour, put your name on a list, because Bridgette, by the way, you probably know about this. Suddenly, when it's your time or a loved one's time to get in and you're like, I need to get there now, there's a list that could be a year and a half long before you can get in. And then you're scared. And then
Yes.
it's like, what do we do? How am I going to be taken care of? And who's going to take care of me? This is the importance, by the way, of where we're going next with Bridgette. Bridgette Childress, Childress Legal Nurse Consulting. Yeah, picking the proxy. Who's going to be your health directive? Who's in charge of that? And it's a discussion. That's a good question. When should we start having that discussion, do you think?
I mean, I think it's something, that's a good question. I mean, you don't want to wait until there's any kind of diagnosis. I think it's something that is always in the back of your mind, but, you know, it's kind of like, you know, we were just saying, it's like, I'll do that. But sooner than later, because you just never know. I think definitely when you start having children, there needs to be, you know, something in place for both you and your husband, if you know, are, and having kids, and then even, you know, this really is like, okay, what would we do if? I just think nobody wants to talk about when your kids get sick either, but I think in all of that. So, but definitely when you get married, when you start having kids, if you choose to have kids, as you're getting older. You know.
But it is, we all have the belief, do you not? We all have the belief that we have endless days on earth. And, I don't have to deal with this, right? We are just now, and I know a lot of you might be like, really, Monica? You haven't? No, we have not done anything. And for how much we travel, my family's always been like, Monica, you have nothing in place. Well, we will. We're doing that, and we will be going through all of this.
Yes.
All the questions that Sean was asking me yesterday, I'm like, I don't know, boy, I've got a lot to think about.
Yeah,
and
it is. It's overwhelming.
It can be. I haven't even started the process yet, but
Yeah.
I'll be leading you through the process that we're going through. Again, if you've been there, you understand the empathy aspect of, boy, these are some big decisions, huge decisions, but they have to be made.
Yes.
So that others aren't left with those.
Right.
And because you don't want to put that on. I mean, the greatest thing you can do is not put that on someone else.
Right. And that's one of the things that, you know, anytime you go into the hospital, you know, they'll ask you, you know, do you have an advance directive?
Yep.
You know, and
My answer right now is no. Well,
yeah,
I guess
you
it's
know.
Jim, but what happens if it's me and Jim, we both go?
Yeah.
Or we're both very, very ill at, at the same time. And it's like, no, but you got to put that into place. I'll look at your comment here in just a second. Let's get into some misunderstandings. So we're talking again about HIPAA, and then stay tuned. Dr. Christian Schmitt coming up with us in just a little bit from Elevate Chiropractic, and we'll talk about, I love the fact that he was led into it after being frustrated with some aspects of traditional medicine and then wanting to look at the healing aspect of alternative medicine. And then it took him to that journey of, I'm going to be this.
Yes.
Right? God is good.
God is so good, and because I'll tell you, and when you look back and you look at where all the fingerprints have been, it's like, it's just so lovely.
And we always wonder, we always wonder why, right? And then it's, I was just telling Bridgette off air, I asked for your prayers today for one of our cousins that we got some really unfortunate news, but she is so faith-based that she's like, I got this. And I know she does. And I read her devotional, sent it to her yesterday, and she's like, oh, I needed that so much. She's going in for her beginning of chemo today, and it was just, wow, right? Suddenly
Yes.
you're going along, and this is the thing I'm talking about.
Yes.
If she didn't have plans in place, that would get very scary to make that decision
Yeah.
while you're going through it. You don't
Yeah.
want that. You want to make sure that it's in place as you're...
And I think it's important too not to make any decisions hurriedly. I
They
mean,
won't let you make decisions when, right? You're signing, I think you have to have somebody else sign for you. Like, you can't make decisions during certain things because your mind's not there.
Yeah, I mean, if you're incapacitated or like, you're not orientated or,
need
if you're not
someone.
able to. But
Yep.
I'm just saying, even with, diagnosis, it's like, okay, let me take this in. So, yeah.
Yeah, and sit with it and don't make a rush decision.
Yeah,
by the way.
that's what I'm saying.
That's the hardest thing.
Yeah.
So we're going to get to, Melissa, we'll get to your question here in just a second, or your comment. What have you found are the biggest misunderstandings of HIPAA?
One, the biggest thing is just that everything's covered, right? If I was watching this reel one time, it was somebody being questioned in a congressional thing, and it was during COVID, and they said, "Well, do you have your vaccine?" And she's like, "You can't ask me that. That's a HIPAA violation." Well, it really isn't. I mean, it was rude of them to ask her.
Oh, but you are right, because
it-
during COVID, everybody thought you can't
Yeah.
ask, and it's not your right to know.
Right, but they're not a covered entity.
Okay.
If they wanted to ask you, they could. You don't have to answer, obviously, but it's not a violation of HIPAA.
That's a good point, Bridgette,
Yeah.
because I think there's so many things that we all believe that once HIPAA's in place, it's, nope, you can't talk about that.
Yeah,
Or even
no.
like this, I obviously did not tell you who it is,
Yeah.
but would that be a violation? If I told her name and I just said my cousin, and we have tons of cousins, but would that be?
I mean, morally and ethically, between the two of you in your relationship,
Yeah.
maybe, but
From
No.
Interesting. Yeah, I would have thought.
No.
So there's times, this is why I'm glad we're talking about this. There are times where I may have discussed something about my mom's care, and I've actually had, I don't know if it was my brothers or somebody, they're like, you can't do that. That's a HIPAA violation. It's not.
no.
Hey, you all, see?
No.
Did you all
Yeah.
think that? Interesting.
Yeah, because you are not held to that standard
Okay.
as, people providing care.
Yeah, I think that is what's in all of our heads. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Let me know. Say
Most
yes or
people
no.
do.
I do believe that we think that ever since this has been put into place, that if I were to say your name and anything affiliated with that with regards to health, that
Yes.
suddenly I'm violating.
Right. Now, for example, say,
Morally, I am.
Yeah, because it's like, did you have, you know what I mean? So I'm just saying, but yeah, it's, like if my neighbor comes to me though and says, oh my gosh, my cousin or my aunt or whatever, my mom, had surgery and said, you were her nurse and you just took great care of her. That was information that they gave her that I was her nurse. Okay, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. Now for her to say, now how did she do and blah, 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 I cannot.
Okay.
That, because I was her caregiver. I can't discuss that. At that point,
That's a violation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go into something because there is, Jim went in for a regular test and there was a person there and I kept looking. I'm like, wait a minute, that's so-and-so's girlfriend, right? And she goes, I couldn't say. And I'm like, well, why? And she goes, because that's a violation. Now that part was, and I was like, oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't think about that. Melissa said, I'm being treated at the Mayo Clinic to figure out what this is, but most of the treatment is stress relief, getting out of the fight or flight. Central desensitization is key to these. My fibromyalgia is being researched as well as my heart condition by a women's health researcher at Mayo. The correlation between women's reproductive health and heart disease. We keep talking
Wow.
about taking care of our heart. We talked
So
about
you
it
were talking about yesterday.
Yep. We don't think about it. We have a dear friend, by the way, and again, I don't know what is violated or not, but we have a friend, I'm not going to say who it
Yeah.
is, that we went to school with that was one of the first, it was such an aha, eye-opening moment of, wait, what? And I don't even know, I think she may have been in her 30s, late 30s, and she had a heart attack, or maybe early 40s.
Oh.
I'll tell you off the air.
Yeah.
I think, is that a violation
know,
if
I'm
I
sorry.
said it?
No.
Oh, see?
I mean,
no, it's
no.
out there.
Yeah, no. Like I said, it's really when you look at it, it is very clear when you know, and like the safeguards in place for like admit, right? Like policies and procedures in hospitals and doctors, the training that we as healthcare have to get every year, and in the computer, our learning center, and all that. And then there's the physical, safeguards, like not leaving our computers open and that kind of thing. And then of course the technical part of it, the records and things like that. But no, again, going back to you and I here talking about this.
That's not.
No.
No, but you're talking about, so I was filming at one of our new sponsors' offices, and I'm like, is there anything that you don't want? And they're like, oh, well, hold on. Computers, right? What's up on the computers? That would be.
Oh, yes.
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 Because that's the personal information.
Yes. Keeping, for us as healthcare workers, logging out of that computer every time you walk away. In the operating room, I don't have family members in there, but, if you're in a room, like on the floor, and you can't leave that information open because you don't know who's in the room. You don't know
anybody's
who's
coming
walking by.
visiting.
Exactly. And also if you've left your information or your, your credentialing, like how to get into the computer, then somebody could come and
Access all
chart
that.
in your password and so
Well, that's why you're all coming in with your badge and signing into it and then getting out of it. So that would be on them, and then they would be violating.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so before we wrap up and we get in with Dr. Schmitt, let's talk about any other rights as a patient that we haven't discussed, and then the whole advocacy and empowerment, because we want to feel empowered by our own rights.
Yeah. So when it comes to, especially like, when I'm working with attorneys, right, and they're, one of the biggest things with having access to your medical records is everything is time and date stamped, right? You can see who is been in your chart. You can see if things have been changed or modified. And so that, in speaking to like legal cases, that's actually pretty important. But you have right to have informed consent. You have the right to access your records, all of them. They have 30 days to get them to you.
Okay.
If I do want to go back real quick. A misconception is that you can, if you feel like you were violated, that you could then sue a provider. There's protocol and process to go through. You actually have to file a complaint with the Department of Health and go through that process. But and they have 60 days from, like, if there's a breach, they have 60 days from the discovery of that breach to notify people. And there's different levels, like if it involves 500 people or less, or if there's a whole criteria for, it's kind of crazy, but you have the right to privacy and dignity. Ask questions.
Yep.
Don't feel like you can't ask questions.
I love the fact that you said 30 days, because there's some people that are like, well, I want my records, and they're not getting me my records. So by law, they need to get those to us within a 30-day window?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And like I said, with it, when there's a breach and there's discovery,
60 days.
Well, yeah, some states are a little bit stricter. Some are 30 to 45 days, but Missouri is a state that is, they will allow what the federal law is, which is the 60 days.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, because that's what the biggest frustration. Let's say you're changing doctors or whatever, and you're like, oh, gosh, I got to go and get all of my records. How long is that going to take?
Yes.
Now you know. Now you're armed with the fact that it's this shorter window, a month window.
And you can be charged for them, just so you know. They can charge you a minimal fee. They can send them to you electronically. They can, if depending on, how much and what it is, you can have, them.
Are they charging you to transfer to another physician?
That they should not.
Yeah.
If
you want it in your own
Yes.
person. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. That's different. Okay. Empowerment. Let's end with that. Advocacy and empowerment, because I want you to have the levels of feeling empowered, because I think that's the thing. Sometimes people just feel that they're handing things over and they've lost any control of it all. So the very first one is my favorite. You have a voice. Speaking up is part of that care.
Absolutely.
Number one thing, right? Wouldn't you say?
Yes, absolutely. And even myself as a nurse recently had something in that there was some confusion between the doctor's office and the pharmacy. And I was stuck in the middle. And I was so frustrated. And I called my doctor's office and I said, please advocate for me.
Yep.
Because my voice is not being heard. But by voicing that to them, they did. But I had to step up for myself and
Well, and you can
say
imagine
that.
people that feel more meek and they just stand in the background.
Yeah,
Who is
no.
their voice?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
You got to find your voice. I'm very big on that.
you do. And if there's a family member that can be your voice, great. That's fine too.
Somebody has to be the advocate.
Somebody. Yeah.
Again, and we'll put that back up again. Advocacy and empowerment. So look at that. Again, the very first one, and I want the one to stick with you, is you have a voice. Being informed keeps you safer. Being armed with knowledge, right? Knowledge leads to better outcomes. And then advocating for yourself and your loved ones is a very powerful tool. You are the most important member of your healthcare team. How many times have you heard me say this before?
Yes.
Who's the most important person in your life? First and foremost, it's you.
It's you.
And how do you take care of anybody else if you're not taken care of? So you have to be your own advocate.
Right. And all of that was just said, the biggest key there is communication. And I see that's the biggest, if you have a piece of Swiss cheese, all the holes, right? In healthcare, that's where a lot of the breakdown happens, is the communication, especially when there's a lot of different caregivers, coordination of team members, whether it's different services. So yeah, definitely keep a journal, keep information written down. Oh, and your medications. Ooh, people, especially when you've got things, disasters that happen, tornadoes, hurricanes, whatever. I remember when Katrina hit, watching a woman being interviewed, and she was like, I don't know what medications I was on. It was a little yellow pill. So
yeah. What's that?
What
Would you recommend? That somebody has that with them? That way, if something happens, they know here's the medications that they're on.
Yep.
Or
you can put it in
phone.
your notes on the phone. You can, and if you're really worried about it, I mean, I know things can be accessed, but your notes in your phone, you can lock that, or have 2 or 3 other people in your life know what your meds are. So yeah.
Again, being informed. That is the most important thing. Being informed, not being difficult. It's being responsible for your health and the people that you love. So I hope you got a little more information today about what you thought HIPAA was, what it actually is, how long it's been around. I'll be very interested to see a decade from now, 20 years from now. What's the next thing that'll be out there that we weren't thinking about? Stephanie said, last month I went to my pulmonary nurse practitioner. I need a new it's probably CPAP machine. She wanted me to do a new sleep study. My primary doc wouldn't approve it. She kept saying, I did one in 23. I didn't do one. They couldn't find my records. After 10 years, they get rid of your records. Is that true? She said, I looked in my chart. I started in 06, so I told my pulmonary nurse to call my doctor and work things out. Finally, all is in place now. But see, what a headache to go through all that.
Yes.
But do they get rid of records after a decade?
I will have to find that out. I was not aware of that.
So, Stephanie, good point. Again, you're going through and you get frustrated and you're like, oh, wait, I can go to my records. Oh, wait, where are they?
Right.
Interesting.
I
So she, by the way, once again, if you're just hearing about her practice, I want you to pass this along to those that need it. Again, Childress, LNC. Check her out on LinkedIn because we're all really big on connecting through LinkedIn. I think it's a really wonderful way for businesses to tie together. Or go to her website, childresslnc.com, uncovering medical insights for successful case outcomes. And again, there's a button on there where you can get a free consultation. So if it's not you, if it's somebody else that you need to pass this along to, that's why we always ask you to share the shows. I love the fact that she's sharing her son-in-law with us. She introduced him to us last month, and he's like, hey, I want to come on again, and I want to talk more about my care. So there's a lot of choices. We just said, you have a choice. You are your own advocate of making decisions of who do you go to for care. And if you've been to a chiropractor before, and it's been like, I didn't see anything change, there's something in another level. All the testimonials I was listening to and everything that I was reading about Dr. Christian Schmitt is a whole nother level of chiropractic care. She would agree.
Yeah, I mean, because I've gone to chiropractors before, and it's like you just go in and you get adjusted. When I went into his office, I was like, what?
Wait,
You
where
have
am I?
This, you have this, yes, and It is amazing how everything works together. I was telling them I love the laser.
Yeah.
It's
So you're going to be like, what's the laser?
Yeah, especially like I said, for my neck and shoulder tension that
That's
I have.
my tension.
It's amazing.
From my car accident, that's where everything's held. When I went in and got professionally stretched, she was like, Monica, you poor thing. And I looked at my husband, I'm like, see?
I wasn't lying.
Exactly. Bridgette, thank you.
Thank you.
And coming in next, her son-in-law, Dr. Christian Schmitt. We're going to talk about the lasers and all the cool things that he has. He said he has so many, so I'm going to challenge him to pick his favorites, like picking your favorite kid, right? What are his favorites? But why is his level of care so different from others? Well, we're going to ask Dr. Christian Schmitt that when we come back. Am I healing the Parkinson's? Helping it subside. I'm helping him feel better.
Oh, definitely.
Not only in the moment, but sometimes for the next day or maybe even a couple days. And that's why he keeps coming back. If it didn't feel good, you wouldn't come back.
Yeah, I look
she
forward
said
to
he
it.
won't have tremors when he's on the table. And I don't know why that happens, but she'll tell me he doesn't tremor when he's on the table. So for whatever release is in his body for that period of time, it's been very beneficial.
So you just find yourself being able to calm and be in the
Exactly.
moment?
I'm more relaxed and calm.
What if you could start your day feeling loose, relaxed, and ready? Deep hydrotherapy right in your backyard. Relax with your family or friends, or work out with our Michael Phelps Edition Swim Spas. Worried about maintenance? We have factory-trained service nearby whenever you need it. Plus, we're here for you long-term if you have any questions or need to refill supplies. You can even test spas at our showrooms. Spas and More, A+ rated, locally owned for 20 years. We put the ah in spa.
When you first came to see us, what'd you have going on?
Off and on pain in my neck for many years. Injured my neck and went to a chiropractor off and on just when it would flare up. It never got fixed.
Push.
After meeting you, decided to come in and actually do like a full-on care plan to fix the problem instead of just treating it whenever it would flare up.
We went through a treatment plan with you. We did decompression, laser, some other things, and of course adjustments. How have you been feeling now?
It's great. I haven't had a problem at all with my neck. Did x-rays before and after, showed, correction there, and then just personal feeling. Keep up the maintenance and do once a month. I haven't had any problems with my neck since we finished the treatment plan.
I love that video, by the way. And you got to love the snap, crackle, pops. We've all been there, have we not? If you haven't, then you need to get into someone that will take care of you. This is Dr. Christian Schmitt. We're going to give you all the information of how you can find him. Pass this information on to someone that's like, oh my gosh, I'm looking for someone who can take care of me like him. So here's the website, by the way, first and foremost. It is elevatechirostl.com. Also, you can find him on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, all the socials. Look for Dr. Christian Schmitt. And again, when you go to that website, you'll get a chance to find out about his own passion and what led him into this practice. We actually did sit down a month ago with Dr. Schmitt, so be sure to go to my YouTube page and you can see that very first interview we did, what led him to this healing aspect. Good to see you again.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me back on.
Absolutely. You always have to have that microphone right there, and it's like pop, pop, pop. It's that aha moment, though. You have people, I'm sure, on your table that if it's their first time, are they tense and it's hard? You have to I've seen doctors do different things. I'm going to ask you what you do to get us to change our mindset where we just relax in your arms.
Yeah, definitely first-time adjustments. A lot of people are pretty nervous.
Yeah.
There's like tricks you can do, like having them like focus on wiggling their toes and stuff like that. But the biggest thing I do is I just kind of communicate what I'm going to do before I do it, just to give them a heads up. I don't want to surprise people or anything like that, especially when you're adjusting their neck, right?
The neck is probably the hardest, especially for me being in a car accident. For me, anytime that's happened, it's always Trust, Monica. Just trust, right? They're in this. They're not going to hurt you. They got into it because they want to heal. And that is actually your story. You had followed a traditional medicine route, and you had an autoimmune disease, and it was, I want alternative means, nutrition, exercise. Chiropractic helped you. So look at you turning it around and paying it forward.
Yeah, I had a terrible autoimmune condition that caused some really, really bad pain, just awful pain and flare-ups. And I went through the traditional route and took medication for it. And admittedly, at times it actually helped, but then it would always come back because that root cause wasn't being addressed, just the symptom was being addressed. So it would come back worse than ever. And then eventually I just kind of got fed up, and the medication I took actually made it even worse than it had ever been before. And after that, I started doing my own research, understanding how nutrition affected the gut and how the gut affects autoimmune conditions. And realizing that, like, unless I treat the root cause of what's causing this, I'm just going to be in pain for the rest of my life.
Yep, putting a Band-Aid on things.
Right. That drove me to want to do the same for others, the hard-to-treat cases, the cases that situations, people who haven't felt like the mainstream medicine has been able to help them. They've been to medical doctors, physical therapists, even sometimes other chiropractors, and haven't gotten help. I wanted to be able to do that for people to treat that root cause and to really get them the relief they've been looking for.
And I like the fact that you just said that, because you watched in that video that gentleman say that he had been to other places. And when he came to Dr. Schmitt, it was, okay, wait, this is a whole different level of care. And you hear that from a lot of people. I've watched a lot of your videos. I see the testimonials. What is it that you think stands out that you're doing that others are not?
I think the first thing is the philosophy, and that's a whole topic on its own that I hope we can dive into. Our way that we go about our care, how we address it, how many different therapies that we include, high-tech, cutting-edge therapies that are proven through research to help. We have a lot of them. And most of the chiropractors, if they have one or two of those things, they definitely don't have all of them.
Right. And so that's the thing that we were talking about, is he has so many that if we sat there and went through each one, we'd be here for hours and hours. So I asked you when you came in to pick some of your favorites, and not only like these are my favorites, but why. So tell us your top 3 or maybe your top 5, what they are, what they do, and why are they your favorites?
The first thing I'd say is the spinal analysis we offer. And we're the only ones in St. Louis who do it. It was developed by another chiropractor who's now retired from the St. Louis area. But basically, we take 12 x-rays of the spine, and I mark them on a computer, and that digitizes them essentially so that we can figure out exactly where things are versus where they should be.
Okay.
It just gives us a more intentional layer of care, because most of the time you go to the chiropractor and we can fill down the spine, and we're good at what we do, but we're not God, right? We can't see everything. We're not even Superman. We don't have x-ray vision. So utilizing x-rays to figure out where things are and versus where they should be helps us guide our adjustments, be more intentional to actually not only get you, it's not about getting that pop, right? That pop's not really the point of the adjustment. It's just gas being released from the joint.
That's just what we've all been taught.
Right.
If we don't have that, it wasn't a good adjustment. Right? That's just our beliefs.
Right. The intention is to basically stabilize the spine through the adjustments, get it in a point where you're having less degeneration, you're having better function, you're having less pain, things like that, and like better longevity, like in the long run. The spinal analysis is huge because it gives us data before and after care, so you can actually see how your spine changed. So not only are you feeling better, but you're actually knowing, like, okay, like my spine's more stable, like you're set up for life, like you're set up to have better outcomes, less degeneration, less pain long term.
Okay.
The second thing I'd say is spinal decompression.
Okay.
We offer it for the neck, so the cervical spine, and the lumbar spine, which is the low back. That is very, very powerful at treating things like sciatica, stenosis, disc issues, any kind of like numbness or tingling in the extremities, because oftentimes that's coming from a disc that's either bulging or herniated, putting pressure on the nerve. So that leads to symptoms. People get like, tingling in their hands. They assume it's somewhere close to their hand. A lot of times that's coming from the neck. Same thing when you get that pain that shoots down your leg from like sciatica, right? So what the spinal decompression does is it takes you at a controlled weight for a controlled period of time, basically stretches you like this, stretches your spine. That creates a vacuum effect that draws the disc tissue back in to help heal bulges and herniations so the body can get rid of the rest of the material that's spilled over and take the pressure off the nerves. That's an extremely underutilized thing that's very powerful. You can't really adjust a disc very effectively, so spinal decompression is amazing for that.
So spinal analysis, spinal decompression. Again, if you're just tuning in, Dr. Christian Schmitt, Elevate Chiropractic, by the way. As we continue to go through these, tell them where you're located.
I'm over in Maryland Heights off of Schutz Road, just by Page and 270.
And again, a whole nother level, if you've been to a chiropractor and you've been very frustrated and you're like, well, they're not doing these things with me. If you've been multiple times and you're not getting any relief, that's where I always tell you, you are your own advocate. You are not bound to stay to that person. It is, okay, I appreciate it. They were in your journey for a reason, and now you're going to try somebody else. We heard Bridgette say that she loves lasers. Is that another one of your favorites?
Yeah, I'll give you a top 4.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll do laser next. Laser is incredible. Basically, the way that works is it increases the output of the mitochondria of the cell. So like the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. People have heard that before. So it's cellular energy. So it increases the cellular metabolism to break up scar tissue, reduce pain, reduce inflammation, and then promote proper healing. Okay. So it is good for pretty much anything. So a lot of people think like, okay, unless I have a back issue or neck issue, I'm not going to the chiropractor. But let's say you have tennis elbow or golfer's elbow, or you've got just your ankle's hurting. You can use laser on any part of the body to help it basically heal from a short-term or even a long-term injury.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever correlated laser and chiropractic care before. Because again, anytime I've been going to a chiropractor since I was in my teens. I think I told you this. I put chiropractors way up on a huge, huge pedestal because of what they've done for my life. But I don't think I've ever seen a laser component.
Yeah, it's
Is that newer?
I think it's been around for at least 20 years. I think it's been around for at least 20 years. The technology is constantly improving. We recently just upgraded our machine, and it is powerful. It is awesome. You can actually feel the warmth, but it just penetrates through the skin, goes all the way down to the bone level to basically interact with those cells and get things functioning more properly to reduce pain and inflammation. It's very, very powerful for promoting healing.
So spinal analysis, spinal decompression, laser, and?
My 4th favorite thing, in no particular order, is pulsed. It's a mouthful. Pulsed electromagnetic field therapy. I call it PMF or PEMF for short.
Yeah.
Essentially, NASA developed this technology
in
order to help out with astronauts after being up in orbit.
Okay.
The Earth has an electromagnetic field, pulses at 7.8 pulses per second. It's the heartbeat of the Earth. We're constantly interacting with it. So the technology was originally for that, but they did a lot of studies on this technology and essentially found that it can help with a wide variety of things. Chronic pain, it can help a fracture heal in as little as 10 days, and that's actually something that's researched to improving fracture healing rate. Help with gut. It can help with mood. It can help with sleep. It can help with a wide variety of things. But the way that it works is it's exactly what the mouthful of a name says. It pulses an electromagnetic field into the body that interacts with the cell membrane. So we're made up of cells. If I'm a cell, my skin is my cell membrane. It wraps around the cell, and it has a charge. And with chronic pain and other issues like that, stress, that lowers the charge of that cell. And so this helps recharge it, and recharging the cell is important for proper functioning of the cell. So like waste elimination and nutrient intake, like all the things that the cell does to function, it has to have that proper charge in order to do that. So this recharges the cell membrane, so it's extremely good for chronic issues because think of it like this. If after 3 months something is chronic, basically, right? If your cells aren't functioning correctly, it's going to take a lot longer to get a patient better if you're not addressing that because you're going to do these treatments and the cells are going to get a little bit better. But ultimately, if you're able to not only treat the way like with adjustments and let's say decompression, you're treating that, but you're also treating the cells from like hitting it from both different angles, you're able to get the patient better a lot more quickly and more efficiently.
Well, and you do see so many people, I'm sure that when they first come in, let's say this is a first-time patient, and then you'll say, how long have you been dealing with this? And many people probably tell you years, definitely months, but they dismiss these things as if they think it's going to go away if they had gotten to it earlier. We always talk about that early intervention of let's get to it so that you can heal instead of our whole world walks around just dealing with pain and thinking it's part of their life.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate.
Because you don't have to. I mean, he's in this particular field so that he can say, this is how you're supposed to feel. It really is an aha moment, by the way. Aren't you in love with the fact of the evolution of the respect for the chiropractic? I mean, because again, we can go way, way back when people used to call chiropractors whacks, and I used to make me go, what? What are you talking about? They are incredible. Again, I grew up, though, with parents who loved chiropractic, and I told you my life was drastically changed by a chiropractor who diagnosed by looking at me that I had a blood clot. Traditional doctors missed it.
Right.
He literally just looked at me, and it was, no, it's not what they're saying, and I dismissed it. And ended up finding out the very next day that in fact is what it was. So I love the fact that it's one thing, that there's the respect that it was always deserving. Two is that insurance finally started realizing it. And so if we look back decades ago, it was not covered. Now there's aspects of it that is.
Right.
right? And I think that probably has made a lot of people happy. Even components that you all do with regards to some doing massage, and all of a sudden that's covered by insurance. All the alternative methods that you looked into that now are out there, and who knows where the evolution of it is going to go. But is that one of the number one things you hear from people is, I want to get in, but is it covered?
Yeah, that's a common question. The thing to remember with insurance is kind of complicated, right? And you almost always have an out-of-pocket. It's every once in a while I do get a patient that comes in and they've just got like ridiculously good insurance. Like there's like low deductible or like no chiropractic deductible. And they have this, they don't hardly pay anything, but that's like few and far in between.
Yeah.
Most of the time we've got like a $10,000 deductible we have to hit. So then you're paying out of pocket. Now we are a network with a few insurances, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Anthem, Aetna, Medicaid, Medicare, working on United right now, even though United doesn't do a whole lot for chiropractic, to be honest with you. But we are going to be a network with it. Basically, various things with those different companies are covered. So not every thing that we offer is going to be covered. Some things are never covered by insurance, not yet at least.
Right.
But that being said, it's a big thing for people. But the thing to remember is you get a certain agreement with the insurance companies to pay a certain amount for different services, but our cash prices are pretty good too. Yeah. And ultimately speaking, whenever you go to see any kind of physician, you're going to have an out of pocket, right? Until you hit that deductible, and even after deductible, you're probably going to have an out of pocket. So there's always a cost of care, but we've done our best to provide a cash price for people that is very, very affordable and very reasonable to kind of fill the gap for the things that aren't covered, and also in situations where their insurance is either not good or we just don't take that insurance.
And I'm hearing more and more doctors go that route to say people are frustrated. You just said people are frustrated in different aspects of insurance that they've come to a point going, can I negotiate a cash price? Yes. Right. Yes. Let's do that. Because again, they ultimately they want you to be taken care of. If you are just tuning in, if you have any questions or comments or aha moments of going to a chiropractor and thinking, well, this didn't help. Can he help this? Fill in the blank, by the way. Now, or if you watch this on replay, just do a little hashtag replay. We'll make sure that we get that to Dr. Schmitt. Again, Dr. Christian Schmitt. So they are specializing in several things. As he mentioned, a lot of people probably come in because it's, my neck hurts and my back hurts. I want to come into, when we come back from the break, talking about when you are adjusted properly, what it does to the organs. I think this is the aha moment for people of, I didn't know it would help this or help that. We'll discuss that, okay? Don't go anywhere. More with Dr. Schmitt when we return.
Yeah, that was quite a bit.
Holy crap. My body's been waiting all day for this. That was good.
That was a big boy.
Yeah, it was.
You just moved up at the table a bunch. Did you actually get anything out of that?
Yeah, on the bottom, actually. I felt
bottom of your neck? Okay.
It, released.
Take a breath in, all the way out. Wow. Push. There you go.
That was good. I think that worked.
It did work.
I felt it.
It's the goal. So, Elena, what brought you in originally?
I was rear-ended a couple months ago by somebody going 65 when I was stopped.
So you got rear-ended pretty hard, pretty fast. Mm-hmm. You didn't see it coming. Mm-mm. What was it like after the accident? What were you feeling?
I kind of thought that I was paralyzed in my arm, actually, because I couldn't move my arm and, my neck hurt and it was tingly, and I didn't really have feeling in it, and, my lower back was just, like a ball. It hurt.
And you weren't paralyzed, thankfully. But
no, I can move.
You did have some pain down your arm, some numbness and tingling. Your neck hurt, your lower back hurt. So we put you through a treatment plan, like our typical protocol for car accidents. We did a spinal analysis on you, decompression, K-laser, electrical stim, various exercises, and, of course, adjustments. How are you doing now?
A lot better. I can move. I've gone on vacations. I'm working out again. I feel like I can move again.
Do you have any pain?
With daily activities, no, I'm doing good.
Okay. And you're about to go in the military. But you were kind of concerned before that you weren't going to be able to do it after the car accident, but you're feeling confident now?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks for coming to my show. Bye.
just one of many stories that Dr. Schmitt has heard from his own patients. And you might see yourself in this story. Again, please stop suffering in the pain. Understand that there is something that can be done by it. Again, Elevate Chiropractic Care. For you to know all the information, elevatechirostl.com. You can go online to find out more information about Dr. Christian Schmitt. Located again for you on Schutz Road, located within, obviously, the metro area. There's the hours of operation and how you can call or you can email him at Dr. Christian Schmitt on social media, or Dr. Schmitt at elevatechirostl.com is the website, is the email address, elevatechirostl.com. Once again, that video is too close to home. So she was at a standstill and hit at 65 miles per hour. Imagine what that does to the body. And so obviously I'm sure she's in a lot of pain. She was talking about how she thought she was paralyzed.
Yeah.
Fortunately not, but those, you could see her eyes and the aha moments of, oh my gosh, that feels better. That is a scary thing to go through. Any of you that have ever been in an accident and the trauma that you feel, it is, where do you even begin? And then it is scary to think, which level should I do? Who should I be going to see? First you're going to a doctor, and then the doctor's maybe sending you to physical therapy. And I love how you all work hand in hand together, which is really what is needed. You need a whole level of care for you that's working for you. But yeah, her process, how long did it take for her to finally go, oh my gosh, I'm finally starting to feel like myself again?
She actually felt better surprisingly quick. Yeah, I mean, she's young, and that helps a lot.
Sure.
But yeah, no, within the first couple weeks, we really had a short time span because she was going to go into the military to work with, and she really wanted to do it. So we were just like, we'll do our best.
Yeah.
But she was feeling good within a few weeks,
Wow.
and then made a lot of improvement pretty fast. A lot of those symptoms started diminishing, and by the end of it, she felt great.
Again, so it depends on age also. He just stressed. So younger, you kind of bounce back a little faster. But the more trauma that we have to ourselves, and the body remembers all the injuries that we've had. Bridgette obviously said, I had hip and knee pain relief within 3 visits. So we're talking about the timing, because a lot of times people will say, well, how long will it take? Or the question you probably always get asked, how many times do I need to come?
Yeah. So one thing I want to touch on real quick, because we're kind of talking about it too, is like pain, right? Pain is usually the last thing to show up and one of the first things to leave. So people make the mistake often of thinking like, oh, I'm out of pain, I'm better. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times, like people will come in for the first time, they're like, oh, I have back pain, I just started, okay? And I look at their back. Via x-ray, and it is completely degenerated. So like pain is not a good indicator of like how healthy you are in general. Just one thing I want to emphasize, because like, yeah, she felt better quick, but there was still work to be done. There's always still work to be done. Yep. Typically speaking, it depends on the case as far as frequency. But let's say somebody comes in with like a disc issue or wants to just get like corrective care. Typically, we do a 20-visit plan for basically 3 times a week for 4 weeks, twice a week for 4 weeks for a total of 20 visits, so 8 weeks. Sometimes I do twice a week for 10 weeks, just depends on the patient's schedule. Sure. But that is the typical recommended. Once you get through that, though, then you start going into maintenance more likely than not. There are situations where someone is very, very, in a bad situation. We still have some more work to do. But the maintenance varies depending on how well they're doing and how much they improved. Sometimes, very rarely, I'll do once a week. Most of the times it's every other week, every 3 weeks, or every month.
And again, once you're feeling better, it is not great. Do this and I'm done. It really is continuing to stay in their care so they can continue to help you. I went into the break talking about when someone's adjusted, that they've probably never thought of what the inside of the body is doing, and how when you are not in alignment, you're out of alignment, what is happening to our organs. Yeah. I think, to me, that's one of the most interesting things that I've ever seen and heard in an interview I've done in the past.
Yeah, so ultimately speaking, like the spine is like the highway that connects the brain to the rest of the body, right? So all of these nerves leave the body and they go different places. Some of the things that really I see a lot is like everybody's least favorite question I ask them during the exam is, how many times do you have a bowel movement a day? That being said, the reason I ask that is because we want to see how their gut's doing. Their gut is another gateway to the rest of their body. So if you have an inflamed gut, it's going to cause systemic inflammation. But also because like low back adjustments, like the lumbar spine, the sacrum, things like that, can actually help with constipation and like frequency.
Interesting.
Another thing too, people would be surprised to know that like your cervical adjustment. So if you have a child who gets ear infections a lot, we can adjust the ear. We can also adjust the upper neck to help out with that. We do a slightly varied or a different adjustment for children, depending on the age. So it might not be the same snack, crackle, pop you saw in the videos. Probably not, unless they're like 7 or older. A lot of times I use instrument adjustments and also just more gentle adjustments that probably won't be associated with a pop. That ear infections can help out a lot with that. Also, just like neck adjustments, cervical adjustments can help out with like mental clarity, brain fog, just reaction time, honestly. And then the mid-back thoracic spine adjustment can help out a lot with people who have like asthma, things like that, to allow the lungs to expand a little bit more, but also the lungs to work a little bit better. But there's a ton of different other examples of everything interacting.
Interesting. You just made me think of something. I have a friend that has been so frustrated for the last 4 weeks that she's been dealing with her ears are just completely filled, and she's getting ready to go, but not till next Thursday, to, I guess, an ENT to find out. She's like, I don't know what else can be done. They put her on prednisone. She's been so frustrated with so many things, but I wonder if she should come to you to see what's going on and if that can be adjusted. You also just said that people don't like to hear about, I think Dr. Oz, I'm so thrilled that he finally started telling everybody to look at their poop, right? It's something that no one wanted to talk about, but he was like, look at it, right? That's how you're going to be able to tell health. Also, I wasn't going to say it, but I'm glad it is World Inflammatory Bowel Disease Day.
Okay.
It's so crazy that you brought that up. That's one of the world days, by the way. So again, chiropractic care. He mentioned earlier laser therapy, shockwave therapy, spinal decompression for the cervical neck and the lumbar, as well as intersegmental traction. What's that?
Intersegmental traction, a lot of people will call it a roller table.
Okay.
So basically, laid on a table, it rolls up and down the spine for like general motion of the spine. So we like to be specific with our adjustments, but then we also want to get some general range of motion. It's also good for stretching out some of the ligaments, especially the anterior longitudinal ligament, which is on the front side of the spine, so in here but deep. That gets kind of tight, kind of compresses things like this, and then this allows everything to open up so that you can regain normal posture.
That is my favorite, Dr. Schmitt. I actually want one of those at my house.
You might be able to find one.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Also, interferential stimulation, muscle stim?
Yeah, muscle stim.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a TENS unit on steroids,
Oh, okay.
basically.
Yep.
So better frequency, more effective, penetrates a little bit deeper into the muscles. Easiest way to explain that is that it activates the muscles to the point of relaxation. So it kind of gets them to contract until they relax. So it helps out with muscle tension, but also whenever that happens, blood's being carried into the tissues. Blood carries oxygen and nutrients, so it just helps promote healing.
Sure. And then vibration therapy, as well as you really work hand in hand, by the way, with them. So they're going to be healing you, but it's also just like a trainer will ask you to do certain things, or from a nutrition standpoint, will ask you to eat in a certain way. What is the greatest thing that your patient can do to help in their care? Themselves.
Like at home?
Yep.
Do the exercises I ask them to do.
Exactly.
That's one of the biggest things, but not a lot of people like doing those at home. It's easy to forget, though. We all have busy schedules and stuff like that, so I never fault people too much. That and just really just looking into their gut health and what they're eating. Nutrition is so important. If you don't have enough protein intake to heal the tissues we're trying to heal, that's going to be tough. If you're not drinking enough water, how are we going to rehydrate your discs?
What's the first thing I gave you when you walked in? Water.
Right.
Well, we know that. Hydration is key. So again, they offer many, many, many therapies, cervical traction. What's the wobble chair?
Wobble chair is it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a wobbly chair. So you sit on it, and then you can move your hips from back to forth. Helps open up the hips, helps open up the low back. Yeah, to restore normal range of motion. It strengthens the core as well, but also when we're trying to restore normal range of motion to the low back and the hips.
Promax, lumbar extension flexion, cervical range of motion as well. There's many things, obviously. So can't you already hear it sounds very different than probably some of the chiropractors that you have gone to. Is that what you love most, that it's kind of like a playground for you? We have a lot of things that we can use to help your care.
Yeah, I love it because I can't really think of any times I've had someone come in where I couldn't help them with something that we had. PMF, even with something that's like, just like they just have gut health issues, we can offer them PEMF. PEMF can help out with that. We can work on their nutrition. We have detox systems, things like that we can help them with. But having that many tools at our disposal, even if we don't use them all for each and every patient, it allows us to help out with things that they maybe didn't expect to be able to get help with. Maybe they thought they had to live with for the rest of their life. And it allows us to get a deeper level of care because there are a lot of things that I do think that adjustment alone aren't necessarily going to fix. And even if they could, it would take a very long time, and allows us to get it done efficiently and effectively to be able to help a wider variety of people, even people that physical therapists, medical doctors, and even other chiropractors weren't able to help.
And that's the thing I wanted you to hear. And again, there's so many of us, whether you're an athlete and you have had pain from all your years of playing sports, or you were in accidents, or you've had a fall, trauma, et cetera, whatever it may be. I'm thinking about, the pool's all getting ready to open, and all the things that I've seen happen from diving accidents and whatever. It's scary. And you never want your kid or yourself to be injured. But when you are, it is who's there waiting for me to take care of me. So I want you to look into Dr. Schmitt. Before we wrap up, first of all, I want to show this gorgeous puppy. How old is your puppy now?
Oh, man, he's got to be 13 or 14 weeks.
Oh, what kind?
He's a lab mix. We're not 100% sure what he's mixed with. Haley has an idea of what it might be that we heard at the shelter. I cannot remember what it was, though.
Pretty eyes, by the way.
Yeah, he's a good-looking pup.
Absolutely. So again, family is everything, right? The people that we surround ourselves with that lift us up. We can't do it without them. Your beautiful family. I love the wedding pictures, by the way. So just such a blessing of, if you didn't hear their story, I want you to listen to the first interview that we did. Go back to our YouTube page. And again, knowing that you have that love and, hey, we're ready. We're ready to do this life together. It doesn't matter how long we've been together. It is just, we know we're right for each other. So love your love, by the way. Before we wrap up, also, your current new patient special. You want to run through that for us?
Yeah, so right now we're running a special. $49 will get you an exam, one set of x-rays. So let's say you come in with neck pain, we'll take a look at your neck. If you come in with low back pain, we'll take a look at your low back. A report of findings where we talk about what I've found, we'll talk about the x-rays, and then give you a recommendation of care, and then your first adjustment for $49. Now, for people that are trying to be a little bit more proactive, a little more comprehensive, we do have a $150 special that includes the exam. It includes the report of findings and the adjustment, but instead of just one set of x-rays, you get full spine x-rays, which I recommend because you're not just a neck, you're not just a low back. And I can't tell you how many times I've had somebody come in with low back pain, and we do full spine x-rays on them, and I look at their neck, and it's just as jacked up as the low back, if not worse sometimes. I have a patient recently who came in whose neck is even worse than his low back, with like a reverse curve, very far anterior, so forward head posture, things like that, degeneration, very severe according to our analysis. The other thing, too, is that when we have full spine x-rays, we have the option to do a spinal analysis, which what we talked about earlier. Right. That spinal analysis just delivers a higher level of care. If you are just filling down the spine, you can fill for deviations where things are rotated and whatnot and out of alignment. But if you don't have the full picture like you do with the analysis, the reality of the situation is my goal isn't to completely straighten out your spine. There's no one out there who ever in history had a straight spine, maybe except for Jesus. Yeah. Everyone is either rotated slightly to the right or rotated to the left as a pattern. And that's what's actually supposed to be stable for their spine. So when we do these analyses, my goal isn't to completely make you straight. It's to find the best compensatory pattern for you. And that it takes the information of where you are versus where you should be and gives me that so that I can adjust intentionally to get you from where you are to where you should be. Not just guessing at where things should be, having actual objective data. And like I said earlier, we do this at the beginning of a care plan, at the end of a care plan, so you can not only feel better, but you can see with data that you are better.
We're in the show me, right? We're in the show me state. People are like, oh my gosh. And it really is an awakening when you see where you started to where he was able to take you through, what you were able to do together. Yes, after my accident, it was crazy to see. And again, it was an aha moment of, Monica, come here. Look at this x-ray from the trauma of the accident and how straight up and down my neck was, right? It's supposed to have a natural curve in it. It did not. And then it was, like you said, the degeneration of it, and people believe, well, it's already underway. I guess this is just going to be how life is. No. Let someone like Dr. Schmitt take care of you. Again, let's get all the information on the screen, because a lot of you might be saying, oh, I've been looking for someone just like him. Well, here he is, and he's waiting here for you to reach out. You or others, you can pass this information along to. Elevate Chiropractic. It is elevatechirostl.com. Find him on social media as well, at Dr. Christian Schmitt on multiple platforms. The hours, again, Monday through Friday as well. The phone number, and then if you want to shoot an email, Dr. Schmitt at elevatechirostl.com. I know so many people that have asked me for a good chiropractor, and here he is, and you've walked into my life. Okay, we wrap up with a testimonial, so I want you to pick a devotion for me. Do you want 100 Days of Healing, which is the newest book that we have in place of the fear and anxiety one, which went like that. So it's that, shame, depression, anger, or overeating?
So you said the 100 Days of Healing is the newest one?
So that's the newest. Mm-hmm.
Let's try that.
You like that one?
Yeah.
Okay. That is, by the way, I have a feeling going to go very quick. It's just the same as fear and anxiety. Now people are like, ooh, yeah, healing. We all want healing, and it fits into the field that he has. Okay, Dr. Christian Schmitt and Bridgette Childress, our guest today. Be sure to follow them, childresslnc.com, and then elevatechirostl.com. So good to see you again.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me
Thank you.
on.
I look forward to sending, and I just said, I think I might need to connect my friend because she's been miserable. And she's like, oh my gosh, I put on weight because these dang steroids. I'm like, it's temporary, calm down. But yes, it's a whole nother way to look at things. Not just, oh my gosh, my back hurt and my neck hurt. There's many things of way the body needs to move. So if chiropractic care is not a form of your life, I'm putting my name behind it. Please do so. It will be life-changing for you. Okay, we're going to heal you. 100 Days of Healing when we return.
What if you could start your day feeling loose, relaxed, and ready? Deep hydrotherapy right in your backyard. Relax with your family or friends, or work out with our Michael Phelps Edition Swim Spas. Worried about maintenance? We have factory-trained service nearby whenever you need it. Plus, we're here for you long-term if you have any questions or need to refill supplies. You can even test spas at our showrooms. Spas and More, A+ rated, locally owned for 20 years. We put the ah in spa.
Well, it seems fitting that we would pick healing, right? So we're talking about healing today. These books, by the way, are Stephen Arterburn, 100 Days of Healing. And this is day 21. Oh, how funny that you picked this. It's called Thanking the Great Physician. One of them, when he saw he was healed, came back praising God in a loud voice. That's Luke 17, by the way, verse 15. According to the 17th chapter of Luke, Jesus was on his way to Jerusalem when he was seen by 10 men with leprosy. Remember this? They shouted at him, "Have pity on us." Luke 17, verse 13. Jesus instructed them to go show themselves to the priest, and on their way, they were healed. Only one of the men, however, came back to actually thank Jesus for the miracle. As the former leper walked back to the great physician, he loudly praised God. He then fell at Jesus' feet and expressed his gratitude, and Jesus asked, "Where are the other 9?" That's Luke 17:17. It's so easy to pray, then forget to thank God when we receive answers, the right medicine, the perfect doctor, a godly counselor, or complete and total healing. We suddenly feel better. We forget our desperation to find relief. Let's not be like the other 9. Today, sincerely thank God for the ways he has shown mercy to you. And as you go about your life, find ways to praise God in front of others, by the way, for his answers. John Bunyan said, "A sensible thanksgiving for mercies received is a mighty prayer in the sight of God. It prevails with him unspeakably." And Jesus does not demand great action from us, but simply surrender and then gratitude. G.K. Chesterton said, "When it comes to life, the critical thing is whether you take things for granted or take them with gratitude." Think about all those things. Today's prayer is, "Great Physician, I am sorry for the times I've neglected to thank you for answering my prayers. You are so gracious and forgiving. Thank you for the ways you continue to meet my needs." Amen. That is crazy you picked that one, being a physician. Thank you for what you do. I'm so glad that God led you, first of all, to your field, and then led you to this chair.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an honor and a privilege. It's a gift from God. Like that, that devotional reminds us, like, he is the great physician. Ultimately, anything I do, I'm only able to do through the gifts and the talents he's given me, the calling that he's called me to do, which is participate in healing. And I'm thankful for the patients that he sends my way that I get to help and impact. But ultimately speaking, I can help heal with some of the stuff we deal with in this life, as far as aches and pains and different biomechanical dysfunctions, but he's the only one who can heal us from what really matters.
The ultimate healer. But what he places on our hearts and the calling that he gives us and our purpose, right? People get asked all the time, what's your purpose in life? He knows it, thanks to God. Haley said, yes, a Catahoula leopard dog. By the way, Haley, that dog's going to get big. I want you to know that. But it is a mix, so we'll see. Thank you. Lots of good information. Have a good day, Stephanie. Great show. Love Testament Tuesday. Hope everyone has a blessed day. I'm so glad you do, and we're so glad that we are able to offer it to you. We're actually going to continue continue the healing, you know our title sponsor is Exist Stretch, and tomorrow we're going to visit again with Trisha Rose. She is the lead stretch therapist there. I need to connect you all because you all need to work together. It's just amazing how great we can feel when we have all this level of care working for us. So tomorrow on a Wellness Wednesday, tune in. Trisha will be back with us. From now till then, remember, listen to God. Let him place it on your heart. Whatever it is, that calling he has, don't be stubborn. Be the good steward and listen, because who knows where he's going to take you on your journey. But ultimately, hold his hand and let him do so, right? God bless you all. Remember to be kind.
The Real Monica Adams Show is brought to you by Exist Stretch. Stop by for your free consultation and 30-minute introductory stretch today.